This is a video on how to use Gemini and Notebook LM to create personalized storybooks and videos for students or even for classes. And so when I started out today, I just wanted to start out with taking a look at what were some fourth grade history standards because I don't know the fourth grade history standards. I know a little bit about history, as you probably know if you know me, but I don't know anything about fourth grade history standards. So I started out in Gemini and I asked, hey, uh, what are the specific fourth grade history standards for, and then that was all I said. And it said, these can vary by states. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I came down here and I asked specifically, how about Wyoming? So it did give me the fourth grade history standards for Wyoming. I love it. That's an excellent question. You're so smart. Gemini just loves to butter me up. Anyway, so it did give me some. And the very first one was early Wyoming and tribal life. Examine the history and cultures of indigenous tribes in Wyoming, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that is something that I feel like we oftentimes miss here at the Wyoming Virtual Academy, or maybe we could do a bit better job of focusing on, at least in the high school. I try and implement that, but it's hard, right? It's not built into our K-12 curriculum. And so sometimes I feel like that might get left behind more than I would like. So I decided I was going to focus on that. So I came down here and I said, can you provide me any articles that would address? And then I just pasted that right back in there. And it said, yeah, that's a great topic. And it gave me some ideas. So Eastern Shoshone, and then some information about linguistic stock and origin, migration in Wyoming, early culture, and then did the same with Northern Arapaho, linguistic stock, migration, and early economy and culture. And I thought economy culture would be a great one to do. So I clicked over here on the link to see exactly where it was getting that information from. And it pulled this up over here, and I right clicked and I opened that. So I clicked over here. They normally give you a citation. If it doesn't, you can say, hey, can you give me citations for that information that you just provided me? And it'll go back and give you the exact same stuff, but with these little links on the side. So going over here, opening that in a new link, brought up this guy right here. And yeah, this is a little dense, right? Like this is probably not going to work very well for a fourth grader. It might have wonderful information, but for a fourth grader, it might be a little bit much. One thing that you want to do before you get too crazy, once you found your site, your source, is to make sure it's a good source, right? Make sure that the information is good. One thing that's nice is that Google did highlight specifically some of the information that it thought I would find important based on my question. I think history, Jackson Hollis's jacksonholehistory.org, I think it's probably a good one. So I feel good about that. The next thing I did was I grabbed it all. I controlled A'd it, Control A for select all. And then I pasted this into a Word document. And then I saved that Word document as a .txt file. The reason I did .txt was that you can upload a .txt file into most of, you can now upload it into Notebook LM, which we're going to take a look at in a second, and you can locate it, you can upload it into Gemini. There we go, which I did. So and I'm going to show you how I did that to make that work. So in order to do that, I went over to Storybook. And the storybook that I chose, oh, actually, I went, let's do it this way. Explore gems, because Storybook might not be showing up. By the way, this is just regular old Gemini. I'm not using anything crazy in Gemini. I'm just using regular old Gemini. I clicked on Explore Gems, and then I went into Storybook. Now, there's a lot of other gems in here. You can search for gems pre-made by Google. You can see stuff that's been shared with you. You can make a new gem. I made a gem for Wyoming for morning leadership routine. I made a gem for a WIVA tech friend that I'm still working on. I even made a gem for students, Know Your Civil Rights, where basically students are given a situation and then that is just novel that could happen to any kid. And then they have to like figure out what are my civil rights associated with this experience that I might be in. So sort of a fun way of testing kids and giving them real world examples of how their civil rights can affect them. Anyway, so what we're going to do though is we're going to click on Storybook up here at the top. And I'm going to upload my file down there. And I'm going to pretend that I've already done that. What else I've already done is I created a prompt. I like to create my prompts in a separate document That way I can go back to them and reuse them and just swap out specific pieces of it. It also helps me because it reminds me of things that I was interested in doing. So we've got please write a story to address the following standard, examine the history and cultures of indigenous tribes. I just copied and pasted the standard in there. I wanted to note that the student that's going to be reading this is going to be in fourth grade. I went into Star 360. I found out that the student's Lexile range is 360 Lexile to 510. So I said, hey, I want the text difficulty to be challenging, but not overwhelm someone in the 360L to 510L Lexile range. I know that that's superfluous to say L and then Lexile range, but sometimes I feel like being superfluous, saying the same thing twice to an AI can help AI to understand what you're talking about. So I did that. I also went into when I was in Start 360, I noticed that the student struggles with a specific reading issue. So I said student struggles with CCSS.ELA literacy.RI 4.8. So that while Gemini is working on creating this story, you can keep those things in mind and hopefully implement those in there. Some other things that you could do both with this as well as with Notebook LM when we're talking about the video later is you can also include special education goals. So if your student has a special education goal that is associated with something specific, you could put that in. I'm pretty sure that if the student was supposed to be working on pronunciation, it might even offer like, hey, stop, we're reading the story. Can you pronounce this? It sounds like this. If you had a student that was working on a specific goal for reading, maybe it would focus on passages that might work with the student on reading. So I think there's a lot of room here to include things that the student's struggling with or things that you want the student to do that where it can include those in the storybook. It can also include stuff in the storybook. I didn't do it for this one, but like if you had a student and you knew they were super into Minecraft and you were having us doing a story on empathy, you could say student is in Minecraft into Minecraft. Write me a story about empathy, right? And the it would come up with a story for you about empathy. Maybe a student, maybe it takes place in the Minecraft universe. Maybe the student just likes Minecraft, but something that might connect with the student and make them feel like they were reading something that hit close to home for them. Okay, so back to Gemini. So let's pretend that I put my information in there, right? I've included that file that had this information in it as well, which again is a lot. It's dense, and then I'm going to click submit. And once I've already done this, so I feel like it just takes a while, and I didn't want you to have to wait for it. So let's take a look at what it came up with. So Hoopy and the Two Worlds, and so already I like the art. It recognized because I said that it was for fourth graders that perhaps having a fourth grader on the art would again sort of like help the student to connect with that student there. Hoopy loves sitting on her grandmother's porch swing, watching the shadows lengthen over the Wind River Valley, setting up the place. This wide, beautiful land in Wyoming was her home, but she was also a homeland of two great nations, the Eastern Arapaho, Shoshone, and the Northern Arapaho. So this is great. And another cool thing about it is a lot of the information that's in there that was in that original that was in the original article is in this as well, along with the fact that again it's still focusing on that standard throughout. Uh, I just think it's great. It cracks me up sometimes the what it does for pictures. I do know that in here, yeah, grand dohers. So sometimes it doesn't do so great on the pictures. It's still struggling on pictures, but you'll notice that the people have the right amount of fingers, so that's cool. One other cool thing about this is that it'll read to you. So if we click that, if a
Wow
student,
explained how
there we
the
go.
Arapaho quickly became true people of the Great Plains. She gave this reason. The Arapaho were great at making alliances.
And I can lower
They
the
joined with the
pitch or higher the pitch, start from the beginning, listen in full screen, whatever I need to do there to make it more accessible for the student.
Wow explained how the Arapaho quickly became true people of the Great Plains.
I also love this little picture here. I feel like the buffalo in the palm of the hand of the older woman, like, sort of has some symbolism there. But yeah, it's not a very long book here. I think we're at 10 pages. So normally that's about how long these books are, which I think is about how long a fourth grader can read anyway. So I think it's a good fit there. But I could go back in if I felt like this wasn't hitting the Lexile level I wanted. I could go back and change the Lexile. If I wanted to change something about one of the people in the book, I could do that absolutely. And I have yet to run into it saying, "Hey, you're out of time or you're out of ability to make gems today." So yeah, I think it's fun. You can mess around with that. But another thing I want to take a look at. Oh, actually, before we head out, let's if we close this down, you can send this by creating a link. So right up here, I'm clicking this little dot with the two dots coming off of it, and I can share this link by either putting it into an email to a student. I could put it in a Class Connect in order to have everybody click on it. If I had kids at tables, I could put it in a Class Connect link there. I can even put it, in my actual my class, right? If I had classes maybe with different Lexiles, if I'd already split my students up by Lexile level, I could have different books for each group so that those students were seeing books that were at their Lexile level. So anyway, I thought this was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I think it might have taken me 15 minutes to make this book. And that was even like thinking about like, what am I saying? What am I going to say to the people that I'm sharing this with? What do I want to make sure that I remember? Taking notes, things like that. So I thought it was pretty simple and straightforward. And I think I felt like it did a really great job. The other thing that you can do with this exact same information is you can make a video with it. Let's take a look at that. This is Notebook LM. Notebook LM does some incredible things. In fact, I would argue that what we're going to do with Notebook LM today is probably like the least incredible thing that Notebook LM can do, but it's still pretty amazing. We're at Notebook LM. The website for this is just notebooklm.google.com. If you search for Notebook LM, it'll find it for you though. But we're going to start out here. I made this, I already finished one because it does take about 20 minutes to make this video once you start the process. So we'll come back and take a look at one that I already made doing the exact same thing. But if I click on create new, there we go. We're going to start out by uploading sources, and I would just click here and then find. Again, I used the exact same article that I used before. This article about introduction to the Wind River Reservation. I just used that exact same thing. I uploaded it there, and then I clicked. I guess I'm going to need to click it again, so I'm going to do that real quick. Go. So after I clicked upload, it just automatically pulled it in. It took a look at it, and it gave me like a little bit of a concise explanation of what I should expect to see in there. And now I'm going to go from there. If you wanted to, you could add more sources. So like if you found a couple different little articles about something that you wanted your students to be studying, you could throw all of those articles in. Yeah, absolutely. And it would take all those articles into account in order to make its little video, which is pretty awesome. Over here on the right hand side, you can also make a podcast out of this. If I wanted to do that as opposed to give something for my kids to watch, you could do just a podcast. You could also create flashcards out of this. So if you've got like a text that students need to study, you can throw this in and then make flashcards based on it. You can also make quizzes based on it. But we're going to take a look at the video overview. And what we're going to do before we get going is we're just going to click up in the upper right hand corner. And from there we go. We can do an explainer. This is a longer video. I feel like this is a longer topic, so I don't want to do brief. I think briefs are like 3 minutes. Explainers are like 6 to 7 minutes. You can choose your language. If you want it in Deutsch, you can have it in Deutsch. If you want it in Filipino, you can have it in Filipino. Whatever you want there. You can also choose your visual style. I auto-selected last time, but honestly, for something about Native Americans, I might be interested in like the heritage. I feel like that might be sort of cool. But like papercraft would be awesome. Kids love anime. So there's a lot of options in there, or you can just keep it with classic. Kawaii would be interesting. And then down here, this is where I would put my information that I had earlier about write a story. There we go. Write a story, or in this case, please, let's just do please address. You'll notice I'm always very polite to to AI, so that when the monsters arise and the killer robots come for me, maybe they'll be like, oh, that Caitlin guy, he hardly ever talked meanly to us. Anyway, please address the following standard, examine all that good kind of stuff. I noted again, I might say the students are in fourth grade, right? Instead of just is. I might have a group that I wanted to focus on a specific literacy issue, or I might say that I want still a lexile range, which in fact I did in the video that I'm going to take a look at. Anyway, so then you would click generate, and once you do that, it's going to pop up over here that it's generating. And again, it does take a little while. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to jump back over here, and I'll probably get rid of both these at the end. But I'm going to click on this one, and as you can see, I already made one a little while ago. Let's play it though and see how it came out. Again, you can download it, you can share it with, you go anyone with the link, and then you could copy link to video overview and go that route. But yeah, so we're gonna click, I think there's some other options. Nope, we're good. Play.
Welcome to the Explain.
Oh, ha, I got rid of it. Sorry about that. Let's try it one more time.
Welcome to the Explainer. Today we are diving into the incredible story of Wyoming's Wind River Indian Reservation. This is a place with a really unique and, let's be honest, often complicated history. A story about how two completely distinct tribal nations ended up sharing a single ancestral home. And that's the real mystery we're going to dig into. See, the reservation was officially established by a treaty for just one tribe, the Eastern Shoshone. But today it's home to both the Shoshone and the Northern Arapaho. So how did that happen? Well, it's a fascinating story of
I'm going to move forward a little bit just to see what else we've got in there.
Fort Laramie was just a total gut punch. They had fought for a reservation in Wyoming, but that was denied. Instead, the U.S. government gave them these three options.
The tribe is completely separate. They each have their own elected business councils that handle the day-to-day stuff.
So there's a lot of good stuff in there, and only about 7 minutes time. Students can rewind it, they can rewatch it, they can come back, and again, you can make a lot of changes here, right? Like you can go back, and if you wanted it again, decrease that Lexile level, you can do that. If you wanted to, one thing that I like to do is if I know that students are going to be quizzed over certain questions and I want to make absolutely sure those questions are going to be in there, you can include that. You can add that to your sources. Hey, here's quiz questions that also should be addressed by this video. All sorts of good stuff like that. Trying to find that video that works perfectly for your students. And this is the kind of thing that, although I think this one took me less time than the storybook, especially once I found the information I was looking for. I can use this again and again. Every single year, I can use this. So there might be a little bit of upfront cost as far as time goes. But after you've got that ready to go, you're super ready to go for years on end. As long as that video link continues to work, which so far all of my old video links work just fine. So I feel good about it. Let me know if you have any questions about this or if you want a different video or you want to see something else that you think maybe Notebook LM or Gemini can do that I haven't made a video about.